All right, so this is Dottie, and I am having a little discussion with a lovely lady today. This is Karen B, and we're going to talk about flat Earth and motherhood and guns and some other fun, good stuff.
All
So,
right.
Karen,
All good subjects.
yes, exactly. Awesome. Well, it's so weird, like finally connecting to people that I've watched so many videos of, because it's like it's totally like that like fangirly kind of thing of like celebrities, almost of like, oh, I've seen these people's videos and I know them, but I don't know them. And so it's funny connecting to people in real life, and it's like, oh, I feel like I already know you so well, but it's like nobody knows who I am. Or yeah, it's kind of funny to me. But yeah. All right. So yeah, I wrote down a few questions, and just kind of go from there, see what comes up.
hmm
But yeah, I just love how everyone kind of thinks a little differently about flat Earth. And it's like we'll even see if this video is allowed to stay up, because there's so much stuff against us right now. It's like, nothing is we're just being targeted at every
Yeah.
it seems. And so yeah, it's ironic to me that I like start making videos and then everything gets censored and we're being attacked. And like that's pretty much the irony and the timing of my life for everything. but uh
Yeah.
but
Yeah. There's a lot of different platforms starting to pop up though, so when all is not lost. It just
right,
may be getting everybody to switch to a different platform or
totally.
be willing to look at multiple platforms. That's the hardest part is getting people to break their online habits.
Right,
You get so
exactly.
used to doing something over and over and just don't want to do anything new.
Totally, exactly. Yeah, and like YouTube being, it's been the biggest thing for, the past few years, that it's like people are so resistant to go to something else. But it's like at this point, I feel like it's just important that we just band together wherever we are, just keep communication and yeah, stick with people who are open and honest like us. And just, yeah, it's so weird being around the kind of regular people who are still in the matrix. And I'm just like, I can't even, like, I'm on such a different level. You just can't even connect with these people in
hmm
the same way. And but yeah, it's been an interesting journey for sure. but
Right, right. How long have you been in Flat Earth?
I found it in November 2017, and yeah, it was Jeranism videos. And I was already like pretty open to like just like money was kind of a scam. The government wasn't for us. Like, yeah, I was already pretty just kind of aware of things, but I wasn't really involved in any active watching conspiracies or anything like that. But yeah, I didn't watch the news or anything. But yeah, then watching Jeranism videos and seeing him just tear down NASA,
Yeah,
that
he's good
just
at that.
like he's got such a knack for it. It's amazing.
hmm
And yeah, just like the comparison of religion versus scientism and stuff like that. And yeah, it made so much more sense. Like it was like I was behind a veil before, and then watching that, it was just like, oh, this is why nothing ever made sense. Like
Exactly.
I finally get it. Like
hmm
I was underwater, and now I can finally see it. And yeah, it's just, yeah, it's been really really interesting. And just trying to be like be normal still, but you're just like, no, I can't fit in anymore in the same
You're
way.
not normal, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, when how did you come across flat earth, and yeah, how did you come across it?
Yeah, I woke up to 9/11 probably a little later than most people now I'm finding out, but it was around 2006-ish when I finally sort of was like, okay, yeah, that was a whole setup. That thing was
Mhm.
obviously planned. There's too much stuff. It's just obvious, right? But then you sort of feel like, well, what else are they lying about? And I never really got understood all the wars and the whole terrorism thing and the whatever's going on in the Middle East. And it's like, well, things seem to be kind of peaceful, and now everything's a big mess, and you just keep war on top of war on top of war. It's like, what is going on? None of that stuff makes sense. So then you start looking into it. And it's like you said, it's the whole monetary system with the Federal Reserve and the way that the fractional reserve banking is used, and the birth certificates and the taking away your natural rights, and then giving it back to you in the form of a license or a permit,
Mhm.
that sort of thing. So yeah, I was already into all that. And then somebody that I friended through looking into all this stuff started posting flat earth stuff. And then I was like, no, that's just a bridge too far.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
think so. Um, and then, of course, just like everybody else who tries to debunk it, I never was able to. And so here I am
Yep.
5 years later now.
Yeah, it's so I still, it took me probably 9 months or so before I would even post a meme on social media. Excuse me, having to do with flat earth, because I just knew what was going to come of it. And even now, coming up on 2 years of uh of being aware of flat earth, and I still, like, I'm sure that my friends on Facebook, they just think I'm so stubborn because I I don't even post that much about it, because it just gets so annoying to me having to go over the same dumb things, or like everybody will always completely ignore the picture that you put up and ask you 1,000 other things about completely different things, and it just, oh, it's just so infuriating to me sometimes. Or it's just like, I just don't have time to deal with people not wanting to see it. I feel like people are going to find it in their own way, or they just never will. Like,
That is true.
you
It's
just
true.
can't, like, you can't force it. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to apologize that I find it interesting. Like, it's whether I'm wrong or right, I think it's fascinating.
Hmm.
And I do think that we have been lied to, so that's pretty important to me. But yeah, the interaction between social media is just, it's just exhausting. And yeah.
Yeah, I understand that for sure. Yeah, and it's true. A lot of people are just not going to see it. They
Mhm.
just don't want to. They're happy in whatever world that they're in,
Yep.
and it doesn't matter what you show them to contradict that. They don't want to see it. And
Exactly.
you just
Yeah,
have to
I have.
leave them alone.
Right, yes. Just don't bring that here. I'm happy with my
Hmm.
Netflix and news and whatever. And
Yeah.
yeah, I have one friend who, uh she's like very into all the space science kind of stuff, astronomy, all that whatnot. And she's said a few times that she used to be a flat earther, and now isn't anymore. And like, I keep wanting to talk to her more about it, because I'm just like, how do you, I don't know how you go back from it. Like, I can't see it any other way. I mean, I just,
I
and
don't
I've
know.
tried, like, when I got, when I first started talking to people about it, and then I like wasn't having good luck, because I didn't know what to say really. And so I like got kind of flat out depressed about it. I'm just like, okay, maybe I can just watch, like, I'll go back to watching Cosmos because I loved that when it came out, and I'll go back to, like, I'll watch like PBS Space Time, and I'll watch
Mhm.
all this stuff. I won't watch the flat Earth stuff for a while. I seriously, I don't think I lasted even a full day. I mean, I just literally couldn't do it. I'm just like, it's all CGI. You don't get to see anything. There's literally everything is a cartoon, and everything is just, oh, this is what's spinning out in some nonsense place too far away for anyone to ever go. Like,
It's
you just,
Fantasyland. It's Fantasyland for
yep,
adults. It's yeah, it's the way
exactly.
it's how they keep adults in that away from reality, you know.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I just,
Yeah,
it's
once you
so,
see it, you can't unsee it. I feel like people who say that they were and then they went back, I feel like they never really saw it. I don't think they
mhm,
ever really saw it. I think they
exactly.
maybe they felt like they had to say it because everybody around them who at the time was saying it and they
Hmm.
didn't want to be left out. I mean, there is still that whole people do still tend to do that group think, that herd mentality thing still
Absolutely.
applies to
Yep.
people. So maybe that's it. Maybe they just never saw it and then they went and found some other people who were still ballers and then they just went with that herd, back with that herd
Totally.
because they're just following. They're not really most of the people who think they wake up or they wake up but they still have that I call it like that globalist mentality. Like they're still not critically thinking about stuff. It's like they took one gospel and just replaced it with another. Like they're just believing it just to believe it. I mean, it's like,
Yep.
well, I won't say anything bad about it because I think it's the truth, obviously, because I'm
Hmm.
still here. But I mean, I did go through the process of asking those questions and investigating things for myself. And it was before there was anywhere near as much content as there is now. There
Hmm.
was nothing. I would wait days and days between videos, and it was, Eric Dubay was dressing like a woman and stuff. So it was like, you know, so I had to really just sort of do my own thing and figure stuff out for myself. And then, of course, along the way, I met other flat earthers and they helped me. And so it's like kind of grown into this whole thing now. But yeah, I did go through a lot for like a year before I talked about it publicly,
Mm.
even on Facebook. And then it was like another, almost a year before I started my channel.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So it's like I didn't just jump into this and be like, "Oh, I'm a flat earther." And it was one day, it's like I really, really, really did my due diligence.
Hmm.
And so that's why I'm so sure about, my viewpoint of the construct and where we live,
Hmm.
because I mean, I spent thousands and thousands of hours on it. you know,
Exactly.
it's like you have to go back to zero because once you find out that all this stuff is a lie and you start digging deeper and you start trying
Hmm.
to find out what is the truth, you are reset back to zero. You're like back in kindergarten,
Oh,
basically. You're starting
exactly.
everything over.
Yep.
It's like, well, why, people wonder why you get so obsessive about stuff, why you spend so much time researching or reading stuff or looking at this or looking at that. It's like because I'm starting over. I'm
Hmm.
starting over.
Yep.
Literally everything in school is I just have to disregard that, and just start over.
Totally. Yeah, it's like you have to, like, put what I learned in school in the bubble in the center, and then there's 1,000 spiderweb lines going out from it of all the other stuff that are actually what's happening with it. And yeah, it's so
And
it's
and
such.
most people I think are also, maybe they don't want to look into it because they're not willing to do that. They're not willing to sort of break down everything that they thought was right or or was true in the world and replace it with information that they have to go seek out on their own. Most people
Oh,
aren't willing. They don't.
yeah.
They're not. They're like, I'm too busy. I have to work. I have to pay bills.
Yep.
And it's like, well, yeah, you do, but it's like, don't you see why you're in this beast system that has you working to live instead of living to work? It's like, or living to
Exactly.
work instead of working to live. It's the other way
Yep.
around. You know what I mean? But you get the
Yep.
point. It's like, you should be living to fulfill your life, not to make somebody else rich.
Hmm.
It's like
Exactly.
you don't you get it? You're mining their gold. You're the gold miner.
Totally.
Get
Yep.
it?
Yeah, they will replace you when the mind
Like,
caves in.
right? It's
Like
not like literal gold, but you see what I'm
yep,
saying. It's
exactly. Yep.
but they're like, I
Yeah,
have my house, I have my big screen TV, I have my Lexus. I'm happy.
right.
You know?
Yeah, it's interesting though how many people I'm finding are wanting to go back to a more it's like a simpler lifestyle, of gardening and just being more connected to nature and even people who aren't fully awake to everything like, flat earth and whatnot, but they're still awake that the food that we're being given is terrible for us and we're purposely being poisoned and things like that. And so it's nice to
Yeah.
find people who are wanting to go to a healthier lifestyle like that. And because yeah, I'm working on buying anywhere from 5 to 15 acres to have a gigantic grocery store garden. So that's
That would be
yeah, a
awesome.
huge goal for me. So yeah, really excited for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the let's see,
Yeah,
one of
having a
the
garden, growing your own food is great. It's great.
Oh, yeah, it's really this is the first year that the plants I'm growing outside have not all like immediately died. Normally I have like some house plants and I overwater them or I don't water them and they die. And so yeah, this is the first year that my son he planted some sunflowers and they're growing pretty fast and they're getting his
Cool.
first one is getting pretty big. So yeah, it's awesome. I had to like put little stakes in them to hold them up, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's really great. So I've got a couple little carrots out there too. So yeah,
Oh,
it's just
fun.
a really fulfilling feeling to grow things, and
Yeah, and
especially
it's
from
good to
seed.
start small like that. Like people think, oh, you just have to immediately have this huge garden with all these. No, you don't. Just start small.
Yep.
Just start, and then trust me, it will snowball on its own. Just
Oh,
start doing it,
exactly.
and then it'll just start growing from there.
Totally. Yeah, I live just in a little one-bedroom apartment, but I'm lucky to have southern exposure out front. And so, yeah, I get all day sun. And I even built my own little planter box for peas. And so, yeah, I mean,
Cool.
you don't need a lot of space or, you don't have to grow every single thing that you're going to eat. But the act of growing something, it makes
Hmm.
you grow as a person. And like, you get really excited to see your little sprouts out there and
Yes,
it's a
yes.
really it's just a really good way to connect you more to like creation and whatnot and
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
agree.
really awesome, but yeah, let me see, I'm just reading my questions here. Oh yeah, you mentioned it took you a while to start your channel. So what gave you the initiative to start it? Yeah.
Well, I wanted to just because I was very passionate about it, obviously, as most of us are, and just wanted to start talking about it because I guess this was a couple of years ago now. So there was a fair amount of channels out, but still not a lot of women, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So I wanted to do that too, just because I didn't see a lot of women talking. It's like still, even now, it's mostly male dominated
Yeah.
panels, male dominated shows, which is fine. There was nothing wrong with them. They're very smart, intelligent men, but just need a little bit more women in there too. So
Exactly. Exactly.
it's good to
Yeah,
have balance.
totally. Yeah, that's yep, a huge reason I'm here too, and why I've been trying to connect to people because all the female friends that I have in real life, they're not flat earthers at all, and they're wonderful people and whatnot, but I if we're not on the same page, it's just different. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely just trying to connect to more people in the community and yeah,
I
just
found
make
that even with like, I have a neighbor that I was friends with, and it was like, along with Flat Earth, like other things come up, become more prevalent as far as like the programming that goes on, you know, the like the transgender agenda and all that
Mm.
stuff. It's like it's a kind of a very touchy subject,
Yep.
and I found that that was even more divisive than the flat Earth
Oh,
itself.
right. Yeah.
It
Yep.
was like, oh, you don't think it's okay, you know, for teenagers to go through a sex change or children? No, and I'm thinking, oh my God, like this is what's gonna upset you. Like it's okay to have a child be basically mutilated, you know, to have
Exactly.
their
Yeah.
bodies changed
It's,
forever,
yep.
you know,
Yeah, you have no
before
idea
they
what
even
that
really
does to
know who
them.
they are. Like I don't even, you know, sometimes I'm 40, I feel like I don't even know who I am fully yet. And like I
Exactly.
can't imagine, you know, going through that, you know,
Hmm.
young and then having to then it just seems like a complete nightmare to me. And it's like, okay, so this is okay, but talking about, you know, this is flat earth is okay, but talking about this is not. It's like it didn't really make sense.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's
And it just goes to show how messed up things have become. I mean, it's
oh, exactly. Yeah. Thinking back to how I was, like 5 years ago, even a couple years ago, it's just like, man, I have really, really changed. It's so interesting the things that I just was so blind to. Like you just think like I don't know how anyone can program so many people so effectively. I mean, like how do you have a plan like that? How do you plan for something long term? Like long term evil is just such a weird concept. As I just
yeah.
it's just mind blowing. Like how do they successfully programmed entire generations for hundreds of years to think certain
Yeah.
ways, and I mean
But then
it's
they
just
only had to do it for the first couple of generations though.
mhm.
Then they started teaching their children for them. It's
Exactly,
like
exactly, yeah,
everybody
because
defends
everyone
it.
teaching us now, they don't think they're lying. I
No,
mean
they don't. They
that's
believe it, so they automatically defend it and they think that they're
yep,
defending what's right. Just because
exactly,
that's all they know. And they don't, you
exactly.
know, it's yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
evil genius at its best, isn't it?
totally, yeah. Exactly, exactly. um let's see. um be lost in my questions here. So like just threw them together as I thought of them, and um okay. If there is, well, yeah, like as most people know, like flat earthers don't believe in NASA at all. Like they're utter garbage. So then all of us speculate as to what we think the dome might be or might not be or whatever, and that's one of my favorite things, that like some of the things that people have come up with. So what do you think about the dome and possibilities of that?
Well, oh, I can only speculate, of course,
Yeah.
but that to me it seems like there's a lot of things going on up there. There's multiple layers, I think. What it is exactly, I don't know. I know that it involves electromagnetism
Hmm.
and it involves crystals and crystalline structures. You know, basically, that's how everything on Earth grows, is in that sort of fractal pattern, that crystalline pattern. Like even, you know, trees, plants, it all follows that golden ratio, the spiral out. You know, the it all follows that.
Yep.
Everything, us, our body, the plants, the crystals, the rocks, everything. So it involves that somehow.
Mhm.
That's all I know.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, that's one of the best things that I've heard in passing is someone said that some kind of like super advanced sapphire or yeah, some kind of gem type things. And I absolutely love that idea, which that would kind of, to me, that would kind of make sense almost with rainbows and how like light goes, if you shine
Right.
light through a prism, you're going to get a rainbow. And
Yes.
yeah, I love the thought that it's some kind of sapphire or something
Yeah.
magnificent
It's
like
like,
that.
we have the plane we live on, right? Which is obviously a physical realm,
Hmm.
right? To me, this is a physical realm. I'm sure everybody can agree with that. Um, and then you have the sky, which you can't really get to or see or touch. So, what is it? I don't know. It seems to be some sort of holographic sky. It's a
Hmm.
holographic sky that has to be coming from a source, a real source somewhere. And if you look at how, mirrored domed objects work and how crystals work and reflect light and refract light and, how real a hologram can look, there's obviously some sort of physical structure somewhere
Hmm.
creating a holographic sky for us to look at that is the clock in the sky and
Totally.
helps us navigate the physical realm we're on. I mean, how that all works, I have no idea.
Right. It's, yeah, it's
The
perfectly
creator's
perfectly
smarter than me,
balanced.
but I know it's obviously not what they say it is. It's not a ball in
Yeah,
space.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I know Mark Sargent references the Truman Show dome, and after I watched the second Hunger Games movie, um, and then found out about Flat Earth, and then was thinking about that movie, um, that one, if you haven't seen it, it's the arena is set inside a dome, and
Yep.
and it looks like a jungle, and there are trees in there, but some of them aren't real. There are holographic. um but yeah, I have always kind of thought like more along those lines, just because we're obviously in a very advanced system. And so I swear sometimes when I'm laying in the grass looking at the sky, like it's like I don't know. It's one of those things, I don't know if it's just like something that I see because I want to see it, or like I actually did see it, or it's nothing I can prove. But like I swear that I've seen the sky glitch, like they mention in the movie, where it's like you can kind of see where the hologram breaks or whatever. But it's like, it's just one of those things that's like
I've seen
just
that too.
barely,
I've
like,
seen that too.
okay, awesome.
I've
Yeah, it's
seen
like,
that too, and I've also seen the ground do this. But
mm,
it's like, you know, uh, what can you say to people when you see stuff like that? They're like, "Oh,
yep,
you're hallucinating or something." As well,
yep,
am I hallucinating, or is it just that I'm becoming aware of
yep.
things? So now my physical eyes are vibrating or becoming tuned to different frequencies, and now I'm seeing things that I couldn't see before because I wasn't as tuned in to my surroundings.
Exactly,
So to
exactly.
me, when you see stuff like that, it's because you're becoming more tuned into your surroundings and what
Hmm.
is really going on.
Totally.
You know?
Yep. Yeah. Once I started thinking about the stars as close and here, and there's possibly water up there or whatnot. And then I found out about sonoluminescence, which is sound and light, and it's just, I lost my train of thought on that. I don't know
Yeah,
where.
it's just different
Oh, but
frequencies. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It like things like that, they just make so much more sense. Like you just see it and you're just like, oh yeah, like, oh, like I just feel like the sky is this beautiful song that of light and sound that we just happen to not be tuned into. And it's in a frequency that if we do tune into it, like it's probably the most beautiful song that anyone on earth has ever possibly heard. It's just a frequency that we're not capable
Well,
of.
it's outside your human
Yeah.
your ear,
Yeah.
whatever you hear, the audible sound, but you're still going to pick it up. You're still
Hmm.
going to pick up all
Totally.
these frequencies through other parts of your body,
Yep.
right? Through your
Yes.
pineal gland or whatever, through vibrations that you feel, from
Exactly.
the earth that go up through your bones, which are,
Hmm.
is a crystalline structure as well.
Hmm.
It's, you know, our physical body is made to operate inside this realm in a certain way, and everything that they do to us with the GMOs and the vaccines and
Yep.
spraying whatever they're spraying, and the programming, the mind control, the subliminal stuff that they put out there, all of it is to make it so that you can't use this
Hmm.
right, to operate here the way you're supposed to.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
scrambling
Exactly.
our signals constantly, and you have to learn how to protect yourself from that and navigate through that. And
Sorry, this is my guy's mowing my lawn. Okay. Sorry about that. Gets loud out there. Yeah, absolutely. Like everything it's just all vibrations and it's interesting the more that I try and be more natural and be more connected to the earth and the sun and just everything that gives us life right here. Like when I sit outside, put my feet in the grass, and then I'm sitting in the sun, and then just kind of meditating, trying to like clear my energy through my body. And it's like you can actually feel yourself get charged from the earth going up into
mm-hmm.
you, and then you connect up to the sun, and it's almost like you're tapping into the ether. I mean, you're
You
just
are. That's
it's
exactly what you're
yeah,
doing.
it's
That's
beautiful. It's
exactly what you're doing. And I do that all the time. You go, and sometimes if I get really stressed out, you can ground yourself in different ways. Like even during the winter when it's really cold and you don't want, like where I live, if it's winter and it's icy outside, I'm not going to walk out barefoot. But
yep.
what I can do is I can go walk outside and I can put my hands on a tree.
Oh, right.
And
Yep.
then there you are, you're grounded.
Exactly.
Or sometimes if I get really stressed out, like now it's nice, it's sunny, right? I can go outside and I can walk on the ground. Or if I feel like it's not doing it fast enough, sometimes I'll sit down and I'll put my hands on the ground.
Hmm.
Is that palms down and soles on the ground,
Yep.
all four on the ground, and that works even better.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been trying to take, uh, I work at a delivery job delivering for Amazon. And so I try to take breaks in like parks or stuff like that so I can take off my shoes and walk in the grass for even a few minutes. Because yeah, while we're walking on asphalt and in shoes and all that, we're just not connecting to the earth, and it's just so good for us to
Mm-hmm.
connect to it. It's like people, yeah, it's like we get so indoctrinated to think that space is so awesome, and it's like everybody wants to go to space when they're little, but
Yeah, they're
now
gonna save humanity that way. They're gonna go
oh,
colonize Mars, and that's gonna
exactly.
save humanity.
Exactly. And like right now, me thinking of going to space, I'm like, that that sounds like the worst
Sounds
thing
like
ever.
hell.
It literally sounds awful. Like you are trapped in your stupid little dome that you had to make, and then you better hope that it doesn't break down, or else you're dead. And then if
Mhm.
you go outside, you have to be in your space suit, which you hope that doesn't break down or you're dead.
Right.
Whereas here on Earth, I can walk outside of any building any day, anytime, be in
That's
the
right.
sunshine, and I have trees that make me oxygen that I breathe, and like I can grow food outside in planter boxes. Why
Hmm.
would anyone ever want to go to space? You literally, it's just it's so stupid, and it makes me it really makes me think like it's man's Mars is man's ultimate pissing test of wanting to be God. Like these stupid atheist gamma, just gross little men that just like all they want is power, and they hate God so much because he gives us such beauty and life and wonderful awesome things, and they hate that because they can't do it. So they're like, well, we're going to go to Mars, and then we're going to create the ability to live, and we'll be the God, we'll be in control. And like,
Yeah.
go to Mars, please go, like get on a rocket and go. I'll stay here on Earth,
Right.
and I'll be so happy without you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Don't let the door hit you.
exactly. It's like, if you think that that's a good place to go, please go away, and I'll stay
Mhm.
here and take care of what's left on beautiful Earth. Like
Right.
it's, yeah, it's mind blowing. But oh man, that's
Yeah, it's like I said that too even in my talk. I was like, I don't know anybody who has seen everything there is to see in our known world.
oh, exactly.
I don't know anybody who's seen it all. I
Nope.
don't know anybody that I've talked to who said, "Oh, there's no place I want to go, or there's no place I want to
Yeah.
see, or there's nothing I want to do." Everybody's got something they want to do, something they want to see, or a place they want to go. You know why? Because the world as we know it is actually it's small, but it's also big at the same time. You're never gonna,
Oh,
nobody's ever gonna see it all, right?
yep, exactly. Exactly. I'm
So
like, we haven't even,
why does there have to be something else beyond this? Like I know that people say, oh well, maybe there might be hidden lands, there might be hidden continents. I agree
Mhm.
to that. There could be, and it would be cool if we could discover it and like kick all the rich assholes off of it and take it over. Like that would be really cool. But if this is it, I'm okay with that too.
Mhm.
I'm okay
Yep.
with this being it because there's a lot of beauty here already. And
Oh,
I'm never going to
exactly.
see it all. I'm never going to
Yep.
see it all. So if this is it, this is okay. I think
Exactly. Yeah,
people need to be okay with that too. Not be so
this is
worried about what they're missing out on.
oh,
Because
exactly.
like
Yeah,
it's like that's part of that globalist mentality that they never got rid of. It's like, well, what am I missing? What's out there? Nothing. It's all here. Just go check it out. Go hang out. Enjoy it.
exactly. Exactly. While they're sitting at home watching Netflix and porn and like wasting their life away, they're bitching that they can't, like they can't do something, or they can't go to space, or they, whatever. And it's like, you don't even go out in your backyard. Like
That's
you don't
true.
do anything. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just getting to where I just want to be around people who are doing something, like, hey, you're a dude and you're mowing your lawn. Good for you. You're a good dude today. Like you're just get off of Facebook. Stop bitching about everything. Like literally just you do you
Yeah.
like one of my friends, he's smart and very into just saving the planet and all this stuff. And but it's like he'll post arguments, or articles, I can't talk, articles, and be mad about stuff and whatever. But it's like, well, when's the last time you went out and picked up trash out of your neighborhood? When is the last time that you built a fence? Like, have you ever done anything that is like at the end of the day, what does bitching on the internet do for anyone? Like, is anyone going to see your stupid post? And I mean, this just goes for all of us, really. Like, we all get caught up in just the dumb social media garbage. It's like, what is my dumb post really, like, just bitching and complaining, like, who's going to do something about this problem? It's just like, no, you know what, if you're going to post something, post that you did something. Like, post that you're growing something, post that you're trying to make your tiny slice of the world a better place, so that maybe when there's destruction everywhere in the world, you can look at your apartment and say, hey, well, I have flowers growing. Like, there's still that in the world. Like, there's still beauty here. And yeah, I just want to be around people who are just doing anything
Yeah.
that they feel is right and good and making a
Yes.
difference. And,
It is good to point out the bad things that are going on to others that don't see it, but at the
Mhm.
same time, you can't dwell too much on that part of it.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
that it's like I was saying earlier, it's like you need to have a balance. You can
Yep.
talk about the negative stuff because it does need to be discussed and it's good to expose it, but you have to also focus on good stuff too.
Yep.
You can't stay in that negative mindset. It's not good for anybody.
Yep.
It's sort of like
Exactly.
then you start to manifest it, right? It's like
Oh,
when people
yeah.
start talking about negative stuff, I start to say, "Hey, listen, well, careful what you manifest."
Yep.
If you're talking about it, you're speaking that into existence, it's like the person always says, "It's just my luck. I always blah blah blah." Well, quit
Right.
saying that you always blah blah blah. And
Yep.
maybe that won't happen anymore. It's like
Totally.
I don't think people realize that they do have a power of manifestation to an extent.
Yep.
That's one of the things that's why this goes back to all the programming that they do, on the TV, all the negativity, all the bad stuff they talk about on the news, or, why do they keep putting all this bad stuff on TV? Because then it makes you think about that. And it's almost like they're harnessing our power of manifestation to perpetuate negativity
Hmm.
around us, right?
Yep.
So that's like why one of the best things you could do is turn the TV off, stop watching that crap.
Yep.
Don't
Exactly.
give it your attention. Don't let your eyeball be sucked into the tube, just
Hmm.
stop.
Yeah. It's
Cut it off.
totally like, you know, I can feel like it's like Monsters Inc. where they have like the fear thing hooked up to your TV, and the more that you watch that stuff and engage in it, they are literally they're sucking the life from you, and they're making you scared to go and do anything because now people are like, well, why have kids because the world is so horrible? And it's like, no, why don't you have kids and make the world better by having great kids? I mean,
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
actually engage them and talk to
Mhm.
them and teach them what you know about the world. Don't just leave it up to the state, you know.
Exactly.
It's
Yep.
like my children go to regular school, but then they come home and we talk about things. And if they have questions, I say, well, or they make a comment about something, I'm like, hey, where did you learn that? Oh, well, I learned that in school. Okay, well, that's really cool. But also, there's also this other way of looking
Mhm.
at it. And,
Exactly.
you need to do that, or else what are you doing? You're helping them raise good little order followers,
Yeah.
little gold miners, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Just yeah. I always ask my son. But right now he's in first grade, almost done with first grade, and his school it's really fantastic. It's really a great school, but I honestly feel like as he gets closer to middle school, I really would like to, having property is a goal to hopefully be able to homeschool him for like the rest of his schooling. Just because I think there's so much more that you can learn at school, and like thinking back to my experience with middle and high school and like what I learned, and just like he's already ahead of his class with reading, and he's super smart, and it's so easy to teach kids. I mean, people act like parenting, it is definitely hard. It's very stressful. It's, you worry all the time, constantly, whatnot. But really, you get to raise a, a really great pal for you. You get to raise a good human in the world. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
is so excited to see the growth on our plants. And my son is 7, and my boyfriend has an 8-year-old. And so they're over Friday through Sunday with us. And they're so excited to see their little plants out there growing, because I let them pick out the seeds that they wanted, and then they planted them, and they're so excited to see them growing. And it's just like, it's so easy to just teach them good things. And,
And that's something they probably
it's
won't learn in school. They probably won't do that in
exactly.
schools.
Yep. Yep. Totally. Yeah. There's so much that yeah, like right now his school, it is really great, but yeah, I definitely want to get him
Yeah,
out of the
the
place.
early years, school is not so bad. You know, they're learning reading, writing, and like basic stuff, and
Yeah,
everybody needs to learn that stuff. But then when you start getting into the older years, and they start talking about social studies and
yeah,
history, and certain things about science. I mean, a lot of science stuff is still good for them to learn too, like the
yeah,
basics, biology, and all that stuff. But
exactly.
yeah, you start to get into they start to fine tune their indoctrination the higher up in the education system you go, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it just gets to be memorize this date and this event and get that right on a test, and then you'll never remember it again. And if you do that enough, then you get a PhD and
Hmm.
you're on TV
Or pay
telling
enough
people
money,
that
go into debt
exactly,
hundreds of thousands of dollars,
exactly, yeah. So yeah, it's
which then
all
makes you
just
not want to tell the truth about stuff because then you can't pay back your debt of hundreds of thousands of dollars because you got fired because you told too much truth.
exactly. Yeah, there keeps coming up in, like, it's like the hidden news almost, these fossil remains that still have like
Still have tissue
skeletal,
on them.
yeah, tissue on them, that
Hmm.
yeah, and it's like you can't possibly date that at what they're saying that it should be dated at, and so
Oh
people are
yeah.
very freaking out. They're like, well, what do we do with this information? They're like,
Oh
this
yeah, you
is
can look up. I was actually just watching videos about that the other day, the impossible fossils, where they find this rock and it's like, oh, geologists estimate this rock to be 500 million years old, and look what we found inside of it, an iron hammer.
it's, it's
That's
mind
500
blowing.
million years old.
Mind blowing. Mind blowing. Yeah, I love to read through just random history books or whatever, just especially the ones with lots of dates in them. I got one from the library that was like, I think it was like all like ancient Egypt, Rome, like all kinds of stuff like that, and I'm just like looking through the dates, and it just like keeps striking me as so weird that it's like this group has this advancement at this date, this one has this advancement at this date, and but it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things that I could end up with a bunch of pictures on the walls and like red lines going everywhere, and it's just like this psychotic like map of who freaking knows what. But I'm like, I don't have time to get into this right now. But I'm like, it's just one of those things like that's right there on the periphery. I'm like, I know that these dates, like, they're not matching up, and they're not, it's like, how is there just these people right now at this time, and when it should be this person here, this person there, this person there, all of them all around the world doing, I don't know. I get so lost in history rabbit holes. I love it and hate it all at the same time. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those things that I'm just like, okay, I know something isn't adding up. Where's the piece? But
Yeah,
it's just,
how would we ever verify any of it?
oh yeah,
That's the frustrating part. It's
yeah,
like, how do we even know? And um that's another really important reason to keep talking to your children because the oral history is going to be sometimes more accurate or more true than what they're being taught in school, right? So
mhm,
who's writing the material they're learning in school, or is it better for them to learn, by word of mouth from people who are actually there who pass those stories down?
mhm.
It's just another thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hang on one sec. All right.
Oh, let's see. Oh, yeah, you mentioned your kids are in public school.
Hmm.
So how has Flat Earth changed your parenting at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Absolutely. And it should.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like I wish that I would have found out about this before I had my son, but I wouldn't ever change anything in my life because if you change things in your past, you might not have your kids now. So
Right.
it's
Right.
like I on one hand, I wish that I would have known about flat Earth before him, just because, yeah, I probably would have done things differently a little. But at the same time, I mean, it's like he's such a great kid and he's so awesome, and he knows that he knows how I feel about the shape of the earth. And then I think he pretty much, like, he kind of flip-flops on it because he's 7, so he gets the normal indoctrination, unfortunately, from school. But he's also it's really interesting raising kids right now because they're aware, they're just able to be aware that they're being indoctrinated, like,
They're very
oh,
smart. They're a lot smarter than
yeah,
I think most people give them credit for. They're very smart and they understand things. And if you just explain it to them and you don't talk down to them,
yeah,
they appreciate that and then they learn from that,
yeah,
and that's what I try to do. I try to talk to them like they're just like I'm talking to anybody,
yep,
and I try to explain things clearly to them and then it works,
yep,
you know.
exactly. Yeah, that's how I've always been with my son. I tried to never, like, baby talk with him, and I would just, even when he was a baby, whatever I was doing, I would just tell him about what I was doing. Like, here, we're washing off this dish, we're gonna go outside, this is our stroller buckle. Just tell him about the things in your day. And yeah, he was able to
Absolutely.
talk really early. He was always a very, very noisy, babbly baby, and then talking really early. And now, yeah, he's reading it. He's almost done with first grade, but he reads it almost a third grade level. So
That's really
he's
good.
he's a
That's
great
great.
reader, and he loves being read to, loves reading to people. Yeah, he's a really, really great kid. So, um, but yeah, it's so interesting, like, raising him, being being awake and being in the world now. And it's, yeah, I'm definitely wanting to get away from the public and as it gets crazier. But yeah, just
Yeah.
be around the right people. You have to build your good
That's
tribe.
it. That's it.
So
You just have to, for me, it's about quality, not quantity. I don't have a whole lot of friends, but the
yeah,
few friends that I do have, they're very good. They're
exactly.
honest. They are truth seekers. They have really good morals. They care about family.
Yeah.
Like the one that the flat earther that lives closest to me is Just Jack Flat Earth, and
Oh, okay.
his wife Carolyn, and they have their children, and they're really good, honest, cool people,
That's awesome.
and it's like it's good to have that around. I mean, I don't know, a lot of people don't, flat earthers are so spread out everywhere. It's really hard for a lot of people to have actual real life friends. But if you
Right.
can
Yeah.
find them, if you can put a meetup together in your area, I mean, it's the best thing you can do,
Yeah.
is have people that you can actually connect with in real life and do things with. It's like I can feel like I can take my children there and it's like I feel completely comfortable having them there. They don't have to worry about anything. It's awesome.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I have been wanting to do a meetup because I'm in I'm up in Washington, up in Renton, and so Mark is only, a little over an hour away from me. And then
Oh, there's lots of flat earthers over
yeah,
there.
and D Marble, he's down in Tacoma, and Paul and the Plane is around here too. You know,
Yeah.
I've got some great flat earthers around me.
Yeah,
And
man. Oh, I wish I lived over there now. You're naming all these people. I'm like, I know those guys. They're cool guys.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so yeah, I've been meaning to get a meetup together, but yeah, I just tend to be overwhelmed and can be flaky with
Yeah.
getting things. It's
Hey,
just
man, it's
it's
life as a
hard
mom.
to,
I know how it goes.
yeah,
When you're a mom, it's different. That's probably why there aren't more women in Flat Earth, actually, is they're all
yeah.
busy being moms and
Well,
holding together their families because it's a full-time job. And
yeah,
then some of them still have other jobs on top of that job. So it's, you know,
exactly.
I know how it
Well,
is.
yeah, and just being making the few videos that I've made, you know, I've got a couple that obviously I like more than others. Some are just like random thrown together, whatnot, or like random live streams. But you know, just getting a feel for what kind of videos I want to make or what kind of content to produce. But it's just like, man, it is like props to anyone who makes a super just awesome, detailed multi-hour video with
Yes.
pictures and stuff. I mean, it's a lot easier with to just like go live and just be like, hey, this is my topic and we're going to screen share and do that. Like that's super, that's one of my favorite ways to do it, just because you don't have to spend the time
It
like
is very
organizing a
easy to do it that
presentation.
way. Yeah.
But man, even that, it's just, it takes so much time to
You still
produce.
have to get all your materials together and get everything in order and your notes and everything. Yeah, I know. It's very time consuming to do stuff
So
like that. It
yeah.
is.
So yeah, I'm trying to just feel out like, okay, like what kind of video do I want to make? And you know, I'm really trying to understand that a really great quality 2-minute video is going to be 100 times better than a piece of shit hour-long video. So
Yeah.
I mean, really, like, if I'm going to
Yeah.
spend my time, like, and yeah, not everybody wants to watch an hour-long video or a
No.
live stream or,
I don't make
you know,
videos that long
whatever.
for a reason
Yeah.
because I know a lot of people don't, they think it's ridiculous idea. So they're gonna click on a video and it's gonna say like an hour and 30 minutes and they're gonna be
Hmm.
like, I don't have time for this. I'm out.
Yep. Yeah,
So
exactly.
I try to keep things a half an hour or
Right.
less.
Yeah, and for me, someone who like I am into this already, like if you serve me up a 3-hour video, I'm like, cool, okay, let's do this. But I work a job that
Yeah.
I'm driving for 10 hours a day. I'm literally on the road the entire day, and that's all that I do is listen to stuff. And so yeah, if you give me a 1-minute video, I'm just like, oh, this is not good because now I'm gonna have to change my video every minute, and that's not what I want. So yeah, I get super excited about long ones, but yeah, I totally get that people who are just coming into this, like they do not want a long video at all.
Yeah,
And
not until they've already been hooked and they go,
yeah,
and then they start asking questions, then they're going to want those long
yeah,
videos. Which
exactly.
it's good to have those too, but you got to get those
Yeah.
little morsels that bring them in. That's why I like DITRH. He does those short little
Oh,
videos.
yeah, it's so great. Yeah, I was thinking about his channel. I was like, okay, well, he like his videos are great and they are short for a reason. And you know, I don't have to make crazy long videos. It's this I
Yeah.
find the problem of just coming up with a topic more than anything. I'm just like, okay, what is it going to be about right now? But there's one that I think I'll probably do a live stream of this one and screen share. But you were mentioning the, you know, the golden ratio of the universe. I've been reading about the Fibonacci sequence, which
Hmm.
is, I think, the same.
Yeah.
And yeah, how seashells spiral and
Hmm.
just how roses spiral. Yeah, how everything has
How
that.
petals grow in a flower, how
Yep.
branches grow out of a tree.
Yep.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the best things too about growing plants is is you see that firsthand, like my sunflowers out there, they, when you look really closely at it, you can see the little sprouts coming out of the middle of it. And same with my aloe, like it's always got a new little sprout coming out of the middle, and they're always just growing up and out and beautiful. And but yeah, that's just a I'm pretty much like right now I just like find a topic. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Let's talk about it. Let's see if anybody else finds it interesting too. And yeah, I kind of enjoy doing that. So it's good. But
Yeah, I love that subject. That's one of my favorites, talking about all that stuff.
yeah, yeah, it's incredibly fascinating. And that's that's just one thing, a huge thing we all say is like math isn't reality, where I feel like that is true, but it's not, where there is math in reality, but the math that we're given that people tell us our reality is incorrect, because
Right.
we can't go a billion, light years into space. Like that math is bullshit. But
Right.
there is math in how a
There
flower
is.
forms. And
There's
so
patterns. It's
yeah,
patterns. There's
exactly.
patterns which can be to an extent quantified with math, but there's also things that can't be quantified.
Yep. Yep.
And um and like you said, there's math that they made up that to fit their idea of what they think the construct is, but in reality, none of it is verifiable. It's
Yep.
all just
Exactly.
fantasy. It's
Exactly.
theoretical.
Yeah, because
So, yeah.
I can drum up a program on my computer right now that I can plug any equation into it that I want and make it, make me this beautiful little island with all the, every stick exactly mathematically perfect. That doesn't mean that island exists. And,
Right.
just because it's a construct in your computer, that, yeah, that does not correlate to our actual reality that we live in. And so yeah, that's definitely an interesting thing that I have come across, is the Fibonacci sequence. That's yeah. Um, let us see. We talked about lots of good stuff. Yeah, it's nice. It's like I figured our conversation would pretty much wrap up, most of the questions that I had, and they have quite nicely. Let us see. Oh, yeah, you're involved in FE Core,
Hmm.
and so I was curious about that, and if anybody wants to get involved, how you do that, or yeah, just what all that's about.
Yeah, FE Core is incorporated as a 501c3 nonprofit independent scientific research group that I'm secretary for. And we have done some measurements, some long distance laser measurements. We have other tests in the works, microwave tests, Aries failure, we want to recreate. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. Actually, I'm working on finishing up the laser video that talks about all the measurements and everything to go with all the PDF that we've provided for that, for all those measurements we did. But yeah, if anybody wants to become a member, you can go to fecore.org. It would be great.
Awesome.
We also have a Discord server that if you become a member of the website or of the group, then you get access to this Discord server where we have all of these different outlines for all these different projects that we're working on, and you basically get to see everything that we're working on as we're working on it. Um, so
Awesome.
yeah, that would be great if people want to do that. Because we haven't quite got our status yet, but we're about to, hopefully soon. Should get it in the next 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I love all the tests and everything that people have come up with. It's just such a wonderful thing to see. And Yeah,
There's a
I have.
lot of really intelligent people involved in that group that you don't necessarily see their names on stuff.
Mhm.
A lot of people behind the scenes in the groups working. It's really a large group of people, and everybody's volunteering their time. Nobody's getting paid. I
Yeah.
mean, it's all strictly, I mean, us spending our own money, going out and doing these tests, you know. So that's why we have a membership to try to sort of offset some of those costs,
Right.
but definitely still more outgoing out than is coming in. I don't care what anybody says.
Right.
I don't care what you heard.
The
That's the
rumors are
truth of it.
lies.
Yeah, I know people like to think, oh, Ficor got all this money, blah, 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 blah. No, we don't. No, we don't.
Exactly. Well, people just don't even
They don't,
think
they just don't
about.
understand how things work. They just don't
Exactly.
understand.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't understand that everything costs money, and that just as much as we don't like money, like you have to play the
That's
game how it
that's
is.
the reality of how things are right now. It's just how it is. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
So yeah, and yeah, if people like have people just get so bent out of shape over other people donating to things that they like, and it's just like, you don't have to donate. Like, do you not understand what a
Yeah, nobody's
donation is?
required.
Like, like
Nobody's required to donate.
exactly. Like, same with like just troll videos or troll comments or anything like that, which is just not allowed at all on my channel. Like, I don't get many comments. And so if you're going to leave a horrible one, well, you're going to be banned and you don't get to talk here. So if you want to make a horrible video about me, then go ahead. I'm not going to watch it. But just like, why do
Yeah.
people intentionally poison themselves and just like hate on other things because someone else likes it? Like, oh my gosh. And it's just
Yeah.
insanity. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely check out more about FE Core. That's very,
Yeah,
very
and
awesome.
I also do admin for that 24/7 Flat Earth Discord server. I don't know, a
Oh,
lot of people don't really, Discord's another platform. A lot of people, some people are into it, some people aren't. I've been using it for a few years, but I do admin for this server that was started. It was a spin-off of ODD's live stream.
oh,
Um, but it's all flat earth theme, you know, Discord. It's all a discussion about flat earth. There's some, you know, different topics, subtopics in there when you join that you can talk about too, but it's all basically flat earth. It's got 30,000 members now.
wow.
Um, yeah, you can do voice chat, images. We do live streams from it. There's a live stream channel that goes with it. They do debates there, whatever. Or
That's
if you just
awesome.
want to learn, I mean, it's pretty cool platform. If anybody is into that, I suggest you come to the server and check it out.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah, I'm in the group on Facebook, Nathan Thompson's group,
Oh yeah.
and I like that, but sometimes it just gets so old with just the same stupid stuff all the
Yeah.
time, like just and and I think the most annoying thing is the fact that like Globers will you can give them 100 points, and at every single one they say, yeah, but
Hmm.
what about this? But what about this? And it's just like, what evidence do you need? Like, literally, what do you need? Because people don't seem to get that science cannot be completely conclusive. Like, you always have to have a side that is trying to oppose it or trying to find a new, better avenue. Like, it just saying that something has been proven for 500 years and you're not going to look at 100 brand new pieces of evidence and compare to the old. I don't even know what to do with these people. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
it's just mind blowing because
Yeah. People
yeah,
just need
how
to become more open to looking at alternative information. It's like, when are you going to realize that the way things are in the world aren't really working out so hot? It's
exactly.
really not so great. Like things as you go on in a society, you'd think things should get better. You should
Mhm.
get better. You should, things should be progressing, but that's not what's happening. Things are getting worse. So you got to ask that question, why? Why is it getting worse? Who's making it worse? And what can we do about it?
Yeah.
And that's when you start finding the truth.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and the the frustrating part about the truth is that the more that you uncover, the more you realize that you really don't know anything at all.
It's
And
true.
yeah, you overturn one rock and there's still a mountain underneath it. And yeah, but I mean, no matter what, it's like I'm thankful that I've come to a point that I just always want to learn new things. It's like how sad to live in the heliocentric model where you think that everything has already been figured out for you and there's nothing to wonder about. I mean, what a sad, hopeless world to live in. And the places that you can go in that world, you can't even breathe there. So it's like, wow, that's the saddest existence to live in, because now at least in this world we can speculate whether there's more land. We can
Yeah.
wonder whether our dome is made out of sapphire or, sky glass,
Well,
whatever, or like we can just
and
think
there's
about,
already things
oh,
that you can learn that sort of change how you understand how the world is and what, how things form, that there's no such thing as fossil fuel. Like
yeah.
the gas in your car didn't come from a dinosaur,
Exactly,
right? It came
exactly.
from the earth.
Yep. Yeah,
That's not liquid dinosaurs in your fuel tank. So,
totally.
that, how
Yeah.
do crystals grow? How do things form? How do fossils form? Does they take millions of years, or does it really only take just a few years under the right conditions? It's like,
Hmm.
how are diamonds formed? They tell you that you take a lump of coal and you put a bunch of pressure on it and it turns into a diamond, but that's not true. That's
Hmm.
not how diamonds are formed. Diamonds are a crystalline object that grow. Crystals grow because
Hmm.
they are in the right environment and they have the right elements around them. And so sometimes these crystals grow that are called diamonds that have, are perfectly clear, and it's very rare, but it's not because there was a lump of coal that was under pressure. It's because it grew under the right conditions, right?
Yep.
Where,
Yep.
it's everything's growing under normal atmospheric pressure where we're at,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. Yeah, that's like the best thing. It's like the earth, it's truly alive, and it's producing all of this wonderful stuff. It's like these are the things that we see that it makes, like oil and diamonds and lava and it grows plants and all this. Well, it's like, okay, well, we can't go under the surface. So, like, what other stuff is it making? What other hidden wonderful things is the earth producing that we haven't even figured out yet? And
Hmm.
yeah, it's such a wonderful thing. And it's like, yeah, thinking of dinosaurs turning into oil, and oh my god, it's just so ridiculous. And it's like, why would some dinosaurs turn into oil but some are fossils? And
Yeah.
like, what dinosaur determined that he was going to be a fossil? And then, there's even cases of the like the oil companies have tapped out a oil well, and then they leave, and then they go back a few years later and the thing is full of oil again. So did a
It
bunch of new
refilled.
dinosaurs suddenly show up? And like,
Exactly.
come on now. Like, obviously the earth is a machine that is producing all kinds of stuff that we have managed to take from it and sell and profit on, and it's ridiculous. And it's like, diamonds aren't rare. They're not rare at all. They just happen to be owned by one company who is hoarding them like a dragon, and selling
Yeah.
them
Well,
individually.
yeah, it's all determined by those people who want to create that market or create that demand, so they can make money. and just get
Exactly.
you more attached to materialistic things. I mean, there's other gemstones that look just as pretty as diamonds that are pretty common, and gosh, I even think they might even be prettier than a diamond,
Oh,
you know,
exactly,
because it's just this
exactly.
false value that they've put on things.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I know like my friends keep going on hikes around here, rock hounding hikes where they just go up and dig in the dirt and come back with bags full of crystals, and it's like the earth is obviously just growing these wonderful
Yeah, they're
crystals,
just
and
growing.
it's just, yeah, it grows just like plants, like you just have to know where to
Exactly.
find them, and it's just
Hmm.
amazing. And yeah, to think of uh growing my plants, that there's so many, it's like there's so many things in life that just show you that the things that we've been told are bullshit and lies. And so like when you start growing plants, you start thinking about like evolution, and it's like how how would you possibly get an aloe plant to a rose plant with evolution? Like, how would that happen? Or plants, they just didn't evolve, they weren't involved in this situation? Or it's just like that shows you right there that it's like, no, that's just flat out garbage. Like, that's nonsense. Yeah, and you can just see it right there in your own yard, just
Hmm.
looking around you. You're like, look at an eagle and a blue jay. I mean, what happened to get those two birds? That doesn't make sense at all. And oh god, there's just so much stuff, so many lies. It's absurd. It's
Yeah.
like, can just be overwhelming. Like that was, another thing with my video making is like, okay, well, like some people do fantastic videos of exposing the lies, and like, this is what this company isn't doing, whatever, and blah blah blah. And I was like, I just don't want to do negative stuff, even if it is the truth. I don't, there's some pieces of information that you just don't need to dwell on. And when you're spending so much time making content, you're going to hold on to that if it's a negative video. And so, I've just been trying to think, it's like there's so many ways that we can spread truth to someone. And if they're watching our videos, they're not watching Netflix. And so if we're giving them good content, then that's what's really important. And so it's like, well, maybe the truth that someone needs to hear is about eating healthier, or they need to hear about how fun it is going roller skating or walking on a trail or going swimming, or maybe that's what like waking up to someone would be. So it's like, just because we're spreading
Yeah.
truth, we don't have to be negative. We don't have
Right.
to be like,
I
hey, this
agree.
is this is everything that you're losing by giving up your love for NASA or whatever. It's like, well, what
Yeah.
are you gaining by loving NASA? Like, you can't go to space. Like, you literally can't go there.
Nope.
So what are you losing? You're
You're
losing a
never gonna go.
fantasy, and now you get to connect more with the earth that you actually live on.
That's
So,
right. We don't
so
live in a Disney movie. That's what I
exactly.
like to tell people. This isn't a Disney movie.
Exactly. So true. So
And
true.
there's a niche for everything. Like there's a need for those videos, obviously, because that kind of helped get me to where I'm at, because I
Yep.
looked at that stuff and I was
Yep.
like, oh wow, I didn't know any of this stuff. And then you look to verify it. You can verify a lot of this stuff on your own if you go research it yourself. And so, there's definitely a need for that, but there's also a need for people who've gone through that already and they're on the other side. And it's like, okay, well, now I know all this is not good. So
Mhm.
now what about the good stuff? What can I do to make myself better, or make my life better, or feel better, or my health be better? Or how can I unscramble my radar that they've been scrambling, right?
Mhm.
That's a really important part I think, like the health part. That's a really important part to waking up, because this physical body is how we experience the world around us, right? This is our conduit. This is our radar. This is our antenna. This is everything. Is
Mhm.
what you have on you, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's the most reliable thing you're gonna have. Not this, because this can die. This can be
Yeah.
taken out, right?
Yeah.
The computers can be taken out, and then what are you going to be left with? You're going to be left with yourself, and that's when you're going to have to, if the shit hit the fan or whatever, if the grid went down, who knows what will happen? It could happen. Maybe it won't happen.
Yeah.
But if it does, or there's times when you can't rely on technology, you have to be able to trust your intuition. You have to be able to trust your gut, your eyes,
Yeah.
your senses, what God gave you, right? You
Exactly.
need to have all that stuff working properly, to rely on, because ultimately, even if you do have the technology, I still rely on that the most, because that's that's how I'm receiving my information.
Mhm.
Once you become aware of that, that's a huge thing. Knowing that you have, your heart has a brain. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that can be detected around you up to, like, past your arm's length,
Mhm.
past your wingspan, right? So that's, and everything has an electromagnetic field. And we're swimming in this sort of electromagnetic soup called the ether, right? You can't
Yeah.
see it, but it's there. There's something there that light travels through, that sound travels through, that the air, is in, so
Yeah.
all this information, all this stuff, like, it's all traveling through the ether, and this is your antenna. This is how you're receiving information, and you receive this information subconsciously, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
So once you become aware of it, then that makes a huge difference, because then you're paying attention to the signals that you're receiving, or why did I feel this way when something happened, or you'll start to realize that you think about something, or you think about someone, and then that person calls you.
Yeah.
Why? Because that person was thinking about you too, and that information was in the ether, and you picked it up subconsciously. And so then you started thinking about them, and then you connected. I mean, that's just how that sort of communication, that sort of intuition is something that's really lost, and we need to get back.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, um, it made me think of uh I recently quit my job of 15 years at a grocery store, and um a few months after, I was reading an article about how the fluorescent light in places like that, it totally throws off your natural circadian rhythm, and so your body thinks that it's always noon when you're at work, and so then when you get off work, you're you're just totally like, you don't feel like it's time to go to sleep. Like your body is not, it's all amped up because it thinks like it's still daytime, and so you can't shut down. And then I think even too that that goes with our relationships with people, in that if you're in these city environments, cubicles, stores with bad lighting, just in this place with these horrible people all the time, and you're around all this electronic stuff that is not natural, and it's just completely throwing off your receptors as a person, because it's like, if you think about 100 years ago, before all this electronic crap, and like you needed your senses to tell you when danger was approaching, and that isn't gone from us, but it's just muted by all this shit that we're given,
The
the
overstimulation, yeah.
exactly. Yeah. The medicines, the TVs, the constant having a phone in your hand, and the constant need to like get that next dopamine fix, and like, oh, can I get the like on Facebook so I can feel good? And so just like all of this stuff is throwing off everything natural about ourselves. And so our inhibitions are lower. So it's like we're, we're we as women are probably then drawn to men who are terrible for us because our natural senses are completely haywire. You know, we're supposed to be connected to the moon, we're supposed to be connected to the earth, we're supposed to be outside. We're like, I feel leaving my my job indoors, and then now working the delivery job where I'm constantly in and out of the van and I get sun every day, and I haven't sunburned at all. And I just when I was reading that article about the sleep, I started thinking, I was like, oh, actually, yeah, I have been sleeping way better now that I am not working. I don't work weird, crazy hours at the store, and I'm like, I'm not in an environment that is surrounded by electronics and fluorescent lighting. You know, I'm outside getting natural light. I'm able to put my feet in the grass in during
Nice.
lunch break. You know, those things, like, I feel like we've we are not far off from our days of being connected with nature. You know, it's really only in the last 100 years, and even more in the last like 30 years, as the internet has gone crazy and smartphones and all that stuff, you know, it's amped up so much more. But it's like in the time of human existence, like, we are in a very short span for being disconnected from what is very natural for us. Like, we're just not meant to be in cubicles and in bad light, and like that all that stuff is just killing us so fast. And yeah,
It's
and it's
true.
making us pick the wrong partners, and you know, then our relationships are falling apart, and then people just don't even want to have kids. And
Or
it's
people just
just,
don't even know how relationships are supposed to be, you know?
yep,
They just don't even know how to interact with a person of the opposite sex, you know, or
exactly,
have a healthy relationship, or, you
exactly.
know, how to respect somebody else, or they
Yep,
have these preconceived ideas of what the role of the other person should be.
yep,
And it's not natural. It's not the
hmm,
way it should be, you know?
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
whole nother subject in and of itself. You could talk about that for
Goodness,
hours and hours.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Relationships are those are yeah, a huge learning curve for life. That's for sure. But let's see. I think. Oh yeah, I've heard you mention in videos that you were super into Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
So so yeah, I live in, you know, Pacific Northwest,
Oh
and
yeah, you're in
so
Bigfoot country.
exactly, yeah. So I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, you know, like, the what I thought of like other conspiracies and stuff has changed a little or a lot with flat Earth. But Bigfoot is one that has pretty much stayed the same, I think. Like, I still think that the possibility of Bigfoot is entirely possible. And yeah,
Hmm.
but yeah, what do you think about Bigfoot? And
What I think about Bigfoot, not only is it possible, it's 100% real. In my
nice.
opinion, they are real. They live among us. I mean, I have semi-regular interactions with them. I mean, I live in the woods. I'm surrounded by woods. Ironically, here's the thing. I was born and raised in California, in Northern California, which is like, you know, not far from Willow Creek, which is where the Patterson Gimlin film was recorded, which is like where the name Bigfoot started, right? Like
Mhm.
that's ground zero for Bigfoot. I never had anything happen to me the whole time I lived in California. Never one experience. I used to go camping in the Tahoe National Forest and all that stuff. I never had anything happen. I had a couple of friends that said they heard a large bipedal thing walking in the woods when they were camping, and they were 100% convinced it was a Bigfoot. And at the time, I was like, "You guys are just smoking too much weed." Like, no, I don't think so. But I was always intrigued by it. but anyway, I fast forward, I moved out here to North Carolina, and it's like as soon as I moved out here, I started having experiences with them. They were in the woods. I've heard them talking.
Huh.
I've seen their footprints. I have found footprints in my backyard. I've seen them shake a tree. I've had my daughter tell me that she saw one. I mean, just over and over and over. Cammy came to visit me, and it's like the first day she was here, I heard them. They were all excited. It was like, oh, we have a new visitor, and they were like talking. We were in the backyard. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock. It was like in the afternoon, late afternoon,
Yeah.
still bright outside, and I was like, I hear them talking, and I heard them talking, and then the next thing I know, they're making all kinds of noise in the woods. I was seeing them walk around, like little flashes of them being sneaky. It's like it is a real thing. They are real. I know everybody wants to say, oh, Karen is telepathically connected to Bigfoot. No, I'm not. I never said I was. There are people who say that they have experienced mind speak. I have not, although I would really like it if they would talk to me. I'd be
Right.
down for that, but it hasn't happened to me yet. And when it does happen, I will talk about it if it ever happens, but it hasn't happened yet. But I have, like I said, I've been outside on a perfectly still, calm summer day, and there's no wind. And the next thing I know, there's a tree violently shaking in the woods, like something is like got a hold of it and shaking it like this, right? And I can hear the tree going crack, 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 crack. Okay, that's not a normal thing.
Wow.
Especially when the tree is like 40 or 50 feet tall.
Right.
There are things that I've seen that can't be explained. Like I said, I've heard them talking. There's no other way to explain it. So for me, it's like I don't believe it. I know it. I know that that's real. And I can only say what's happened to me. Whether people want to believe it or not, I don't care. You can just think I'm crazy, or you can whatever. I don't care. I don't care. All I can say is what happened, and that's it. It's the truth.
Love it. That's so great. Yeah, that's just really great.
The other thing I can say about it though is that it's nothing bad. It's not, people want to say, oh, they're demons or they're
Yeah.
Nephilim. No, and no, they're not. They're not demons. They're not evil. They don't mean anybody. I've never felt threatened. I've never been scared. I've
Mhm.
never, you know, none of that. It's never been a negative thing. It's always been positive. I've had them leave me handfuls of herbs, in my trail or whatever. It's nothing is ever bad.
I love it.
So
That's
um,
awesome.
they're I like to call them forest people instead of Bigfoot because that's what they are. They're a people.
Yeah.
They have a family structure. They have a language because I've heard them speak it. I don't understand it, but I've heard them speak. So obviously they're like an intelligent, sentient group of beings, but they have they're much more advanced than us. They're not, everybody likes to talk about Bigfoot like it's some relic hominid, like they're some leftover missing link. They're an ape. No. They're highly, highly intelligent, highly advanced. They can go in and out of dimensions. They can vibrate at different frequencies. They can change their vibration. It's like is one of the researchers that I've followed. He got into Bigfoot because he lives up there in Washington and he was camping with his family, and he was like up on a hillside or something looking down at the campsite where his family was, and he saw a Bigfoot walking, and he literally saw this Bigfoot walking and disappear right in front of his eyes. And then he saw it reappear at another section, and being how big this thing was and what he saw it do, like immediately it messed with him because he felt like he couldn't protect his family. He's like, there's this thing, I don't know what it is. If something bad, I'm powerless against it. I have not, so he was freaked out. He wouldn't talk about it. He talked about seeing them, but not about the disappearing part. And then later on, somebody else told him, well, I've seen them disappear. And this is something that I remember watching a special on Bigfoot when I was a kid. It was like in the 80s. And there was a man and a woman, and they were both witnesses to Bigfoot. And the woman was like sitting there saying, she was like, yeah, they can disappear. And this was like years ago. And when I watched her, I was like, that woman is out of her mind. She's not only she's saying she saw Sasquatch, but she saw it disappear. Like she's batshit crazy. That's what I thought. And
Wow.
even the other guy who also saw Bigfoot was like, no, they can't. He's like, they're real. He's like, I saw one. It's a physical thing. You know, it cannot disappear because he didn't see it disappear, right? He saw one, but he never saw it disappear. So even he was like, no, that can't be right.
Wow.
Well, so years later, then I start hearing more important people talk about it. So now that's kind of how I got into that's where I ended up with my Bigfoot research was in this group where people who go out and they actually go camping in the woods and they don't light fires, they don't use tents, they don't use lights. They go out there and they just exist in the environment, you know, without any disruptions, and they interact with these clans of Bigfoot, like these families,
Wow.
right? So that's a whole thing now, and they talk about the paranormal side of it, which you know, paranormal, abnormal is what we consider it, but is it? Is it really abnormal, or is
Right.
it normal, and we just don't know about it because we have been educated out of who we really are? Do we have the same abilities that they do? What if my pineal gland had never been exposed to fluoride? You
Mhm.
know what? How do I know if I had never you know, been injected with any shots or I had just, you know, never been touched by anything outside, how would my body be behaving differently than it is now? And that's
Exactly.
sort of what looking into Sasquatch and all that, that's what it makes me think about, you know, they're, you know, living in this environment with it 100%, you know, you can't even, if you, they don't want you to know that they're there, you will not know. If
Hmm.
like if you have seen one or if you had an interaction with one, it's because they wanted you to know that they were there. If
Hmm.
they don't want you to know, you aren't going to know. You'll walk right past one and you won't even know.
Right.
Uh, but so that's
Which,
where that whole thing goes. It's just another thing that they lied to us about it. There's a
it,
lot of parallels between flat earth and Bigfoot, and it's funny because like I started out in Bigfoot and then I got into flat earth and I thought, "Oh yeah, I bet you I can talk to them about Bigfoot and it won't be
yeah.
because I was already talking about Bigfoot and people were always
Right.
still kind of you know. But no, as soon as I said, "No, you're making flat earth look stupid." And I was like, "You got to be kidding me. You think the earth is flat. You think the queen is a lizard and I can't talk about Bigfoot?"
Exactly. Well, and it's like even if you're wrong, like why can't people talk about something that's interesting? Like
Yeah.
why can't we just speculate? And that with them disappearing and stuff, that makes me
It's
reminds
just that
me.
they've lied to us. They've lied
Oh,
to us about
exactly.
it's like
Exactly.
they put these stupid shows on TV about Bigfoot and like finding
Yeah,
Bigfoot and
finding
people
Bigfoot.
banging on trees and
Yeah.
whoo, you know, and so stupid. It's all stupid. Most of the time that I've had an interaction with them, it's been in broad daylight.
Right.
Most of it is broad daylight. So anyway,
Yeah.
they tell you all these stupid lies and they put all these stupid videos, make you think they're a monster and they're going to kidnap you, or they're going to kidnap your children and blah blah blah, and they just lie to you about it because they
Right.
can't hide it because too many people see them, too many people have interactions with them, like it's something that happens too often. So there's something to it. Obviously, they can't hide it from us because anybody who with an open mind or with the guts can go out into the woods and can try to communicate with them, right?
Right.
Anybody open to do it can go do it as long as you do it with from good intentions. You know, they're going
Right.
to know if you have bad intentions and that you're not going to be happy with what you have. But if you go with good intentions, you could get results, right? So they can't hide it from you. So they're lying. They lie about it. Just like they can't really hide that the earth is flat from us, right? If you really look at it for yourself and you make direct measurements of the land, you're going to find out that the earth is not a ball, right?
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
can't hide it. All they can do is lie to you about it and put a veil over your eyes. And so that's what they do. And all we have to do is, you know, make somebody ask questions and then they go, huh? And they take a little peek out from behind that veil and then they go, oh. And some people keep going and they rip it off and it's like, yeah, now I see what's really going on and other people don't want to look.
Exactly. Hmm. That's it's like with the Bigfoot, I almost wonder it's like the people who are trying to control this place, like they probably keep trying to like make the Bigfoot leave or make us think that they're so stupid that but they don't know how to deal with them because it seems like they just do what they want. It's just like, if you're going to see us, it's because we want you to see us, or like if you get to interact with us because we felt like you needed us to be there, but like we're not going to leave because you think that we we should. Like we're just going to go invisible and you won't even know that we're here. And so it's almost like they seem just like really playful and just like they're just here to have a good time. And it's just like, we're not gonna leave.
Well,
Like
it's
we were
just
here
about
first, or
they're just higher minded. You know, if
yeah,
you're advanced like that, you're higher minded. Your goal is not to take people over or to capture somebody and put them in a cage and gawk at them, which is like what probably people tried to do to them, which is probably why they
right,
don't show themselves to us anymore. They're like, screw you guys. Every time we see you, you scream and you shoot at us, so we're just going to ignore you from now on.
right,
You know, so it's like I lost my train of thought, but that you get my point, right?
yeah, exactly. But yeah, it almost, yeah, it seems like they would think of us as
And
like cute even.
there could be some benefit to us being open to communication with them. Like what could we learn from them?
Right,
What could they
totally.
tell us that we have, we aren't aware of? They could probably tell us a lot. So that's probably another reason why they wouldn't want us to be
Oh,
okay
exactly. Yep,
with coexisting with something like that. And it
totally.
might not even just be, the Sasquatch. There's other, cryptids and stuff that people talk about. I haven't really gotten too much into any of the other ones besides Sasquatch, but there's Dogman, Mothman. Dogman actually comes up quite a lot. There's a lot of people who think that they've seen that, but I mean, I don't know. But who
Right.
knows what could be there? It's like,
Well, I mean, we have there, there's constantly animals that are coming, like so-called back from extinction, or they thought that it was endangered and went extinct, and then 20 years later they find it in a jungle, and it's just like, that dude was just literally chilling in the jungle. Like,
yeah,
you thought that he was dead, and he probably has like 50 bros in a cave, and like you just couldn't
yeah.
find him. Like there's so much stuff like that that is like, we
There's,
literally have nothing. We know nothing about any of the the creatures here, like what's in
I
the
think
ocean, what's in the jungle.
think
Yeah.
they underestimate life
Hmm.
too in general. They
Mom,
just underestimate it.
Yeah.
What?
there's only three people who have known the source of a bird. That one person who is actually two people who are called Bill's Channel, and another one who I don't remember the name of. But they are thinking the Mothman is actually a Washington's eagle. This
Mothman's the Washington's eagle.
Yeah, like because the Washington's eagle is a big bird, and they're thinking that Mothman is actually just
It could be.
is it,
Mothman could just be a very big bird. It's true.
it's just they
Awesome.
just think it's either a barring owl.
Actually, there was some people who went out to go habituate with the Sasquatches, and a whole group of them at one time said that they all swore that they saw a pterodactyl.
Oh, there's I
Mom,
love to look through like the oldest pictures that you can find, and there are pictures of like these farmers or something who are standing with this pterodactyl that they caught, and like I think I've only seen that picture maybe twice, and I don't even remember where I saw it. I'm gonna have to find it so I can save it. But yeah, it's just one of those things that is just like how do you explain that? Like how the hell do you explain that with everything that we've been told? You can't. You just,
Yeah.
how do
There was
people?
one video going around too. I don't know if you saw it, of like somebody said they filmed a pterodactyl flying, and people were trying to say that it was a remote control one, because they have remote control pterodactyls. But if you
Oh,
look at this video, it's flying and it's flapping its wings, and then it stops and tips forward and it articulates its neck down, and then it looks back up and it keeps flying. And then if you look up video of remote control ones, it's like they're all stiff and they're like, "Arr."
right.
It's like, no, no,
Yeah,
no, no,
just
no.
like drones
It's
and
not the
thing. Yeah.
same thing. It's
Wow.
not the same thing. who knows? Who knows where these things are going? It's like just like we're talking about before. Like if there's lands we don't know about, what's going to be able to go in between those the easiest, right? A big
Exactly.
flying pterodactyl would do it quite easily,
Yep.
get up there and
Totally.
ride the jet streams or whatever. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
who
Well, and
knows what is
I
still
mean,
around. Well, even they say that the in my part of the country that the mountain lion is extinct, right? The mountain lion is all over the whole US, but right, in the East Coast, they say they're extinct over here, right? Well, a couple of winters ago, I could have sworn I saw panther footprints in the snow in my backyard because they were freaking huge
yeah,
and it was bigger than my dog. And I was
right.
like, that's really weird, right? And
It's
plus, I've got people that live around here who say they've seen panthers.
right.
So just because you haven't found one or you don't know that they're here or their numbers are so low, maybe you think they're
Exactly.
extinct, but it's just because you don't know that. But they're still here
Exactly.
because I think that they underestimate how the drive for life to perpetuate, like it finds a way. If
Yep,
it can find a
exactly.
way, it will find a way. I mean,
Exactly. It will always, yeah, it will always find a way to create new, and yeah, people, these men of power, they just despise God so much, and they hate that they are unable to create such such a wonderful world, and a place that it's like if humans were not here at all, the earth would still do exactly what it does. Like it would still get lightning strikes and fires, and it would change exactly how it does. And us being here, it just we're just making things worse, really, just by being stupid about it. But it's like we
I think
have
we
no
we do mistreat it. Yeah,
yeah,
people I
we
think in general do
we
mistreat
truly
the earth.
we have no power if natural disasters break
Yeah.
free and destroy everything. Like humans truly have no power to stop that if the earth decides that it wants to destroy us all. And
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
people
true.
they really underestimate the power of yeah, of God against us, really, because yeah, I don't know, you just can't see evil in this world without being able to see God on the flip side. And evil is so overtaken this world that it's just like, whew, God
Yeah.
is just he's gonna make us pay, and we're gonna deserve it. Like we're really we're gonna deserve what we get, which is like that's why I'm trying to make good with what I have. It's like you have to you have to be the light when everything else is going to shit, and like you just have to hold faith that things are going to get better. And I don't know, it's a tough one, but it's I don't know, life is good. I feel like we make it what it is, really, and we can choose to make it great, or live in the misery. And yeah, that's
That's true.
yeah.
That's true.
What time is it? 11:30. Um, let's see. I think that kind of looks like it pretty much sums it up. Um, let's see. I don't know. Like I wrote this down, but it's not really in a question, so I don't really know. I don't know what I was doing with it, but it was just like a random random thought. It's just like how, like, I think about how, like, basically no one really knows what the earth looks like, because, like, if you
Right.
believe no one has been to space, then no one has been up higher than,
No one's
100,
been far enough away
120.
from Earth to look at it.
Yep, exactly. And we're not allowed to go out, which to me is like, I think like it's interesting of like the possibility of like other land, but but if I had the chance to go there, I don't think that I would. Like, I just don't. I almost feel like Antarctica is like it's like how magicians use misdirection and they're like, "Hey, look over here, but I'm really doing something over here." That's
Yes,
how
I
I feel like
agree. Yeah.
Antarctica is just like everybody look at what you can't do in Antarctica, but I'm like, what's going on with the North? Like, does anybody give a shit what's happening up there? Like,
Yeah.
why are they showing Northern Lights only in the North? You know, like if we're supposed to be a ball and everything is the same as the North and the South, like I've only seen one video of the so-called Southern Lights, and it it reminded me of the that video of the southern sun with like the watch on the bottom, which is obviously just fake and horrible, and it reminded me completely of that, where it looked super fake and just not real at all, where all the northern lights ones, those do actually look like actual videos. But yeah, I was just thinking like why isn't there southern lights, or like why is everyone obsessed with Antarctica? Like how far out do you have to go to find other land? Like how much ice do you have to go across to find the possibility of other land where they might be horribly hostile and not allow you to go in? Or I
Mhm.
don't know, that just the South just doesn't appeal to me as much as it probably does some flat earthers, like yeah,
Yeah,
there's just nothing but ice there. But
I'm
yeah.
definitely more interested in the North as well because everything revolves around the North.
Mm-hmm.
It's the heart, which is an anagram for Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's the center. I have dreams about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely more interested in what's going on in the center than on
Mm-hmm.
the outside.
Right, right.
Because I'm sure maybe you could learn something there, but it's just so hostile.
Exactly,
It's
totally.
like, well, I'd rather, even if there is something to learn there, I'd rather go here first.
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe what I learned there, I don't have to go there anymore.
Yep,
you know?
yep,
I don't
exactly.
know. Maybe what I learned there makes me better equipped to go this way.
Mm-hmm.
I still
Yep.
think the North is better. It's first on the list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really want to plan a trip up to the north and see the northern lights. And yeah,
Yeah, that would be awesome.
just feel like there's something going on up there. And just with how the magnetics of our earth work, and that everything seems to be attracted to the north. And yeah, like you said, it all spins around and over the north. And the fact that they say the North Pole is moving, and which there's so many things. It's like I feel like they tell us half truths about everything, or like they put in just one little sprinkle of truth so that they can say that they did tell us the truth, but then everything else is just like garbage huddled around it. And so yeah, it's so hard to
Exactly.
pick apart, like, okay, well, where's that one slice of truth, and then how can
Yeah.
I figure out things from there? But
Yeah, I mean, they have to put some truth in there or you'd never believe any of it, right? If everything was a complete lie, you'd never believe any of it. So they have to take some truth and then wrap their lies around it to sell it.
yeah, totally, totally. Gotta make it look pretty and fancy and sell it to the
hmm
public. Yeah, that is the way of the world for sure, unfortunately. Um, well, yeah, I think that's pretty much all the questions I have. We covered all kinds of awesome stuff. Yeah, this was really fantastic. But yeah, do you have any questions for me or anything else you want to chat about?
Um, I can't think of any questions right now.
Yeah, I'm like the worst at thinking of stuff on the spot. I'm trying to like make my brain work better. Is like I'm working out a ton, and so I'm like, okay, well, I need to work out my brain too. Like that's a muscle too. And so I'm just trying to increase my processing speed of my brain. But yeah, as far
Yeah, that's great. I do that too. I started working out too. probably a little over a year ago. And because I was like so too much on the computer, trying to relearn everything. And then it was like, okay, I finally got to a point where it's like, okay, I need to stop this, get up and move around, and I need to go outside. And it does help. It does help to get yourself moving and go outside and work out and sweat and, and be sore, and then soak in a hot tub afterwards.
So
It's
nice.
like you need to do all that stuff because it's good for you. And then I really believe that a healthy body supports a healthy mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've listened to a couple podcasts of this really great doctor. She's like a naturopath doctor, and she mentions that the more that you stress your body in a way like a workout, the less that your brain will actually feel stressed when you encounter a stressful situation, because you've already pushed your body to crazy limits and just worked out the just stagnant energy in your body, really. And so then when you get to a stressful situation, your mind it's actually able to fire better and be like, oh, I can handle this because I feel really relaxed and not crazy, because like I got my endorphins today, and like I'm good, I'm balanced. And it's really,
or even if you do get stressed out, the best way to relieve that stress is through a physical exertion.
Work out until you literally cannot think anymore. Like
otherwise you'll store all that tension and it builds up in your shoulders and your back, and then that's when you're like you're all feeling all tight.
Exactly. I just a couple weeks ago just became a Zumba instructor, and so now I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Like most people do it at a studio, they just start by like subbing, but I was thinking about like maybe I could do like Zumba in the park or something like that, just to get people outside and get them a love for working out, and just be able to connect with people in person more. Because I was thinking about doing like online type classes, but I just really like the group atmosphere of being in a class and being with other people, and being able to high five after a really hard workout it's really motivating. And workout buddies are they're good.
Yeah, it is really more fun with other people. I'm alone most of the time. It would be great to be around other people too, doing that stuff. Everybody motivating each other.
Exactly. Yeah, it's occasional that I get together with my gym buddy, but yeah, it's always nice when I do, for sure. Let's see. All right. Well, I think if that's it, then we could probably close this down. Wow, we were talking for 2 hours. That went quick, but at the same time, almost feel like we could just keep rambling away. Lots of good subjects that, it's like, since I really don't have a lot of like awake friends, when I find one, I'm like, oh, yay,
I know.
You don't watch the garbage. Like, you're not going to try and talk to me about Russian
That's
collusion.
why those, have you seen the people with the online hangouts, and they're doing like 8-hour hangouts? That's why they're there, because then everybody can jump in or jump off and just talk, and then or leave or whatever. It's like that, keeping that conversation place open. It's like the coffee shop, like the online coffee shop or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just so important, because we're all so involved in our one tiny little screen, and we need to be more open, and just be with other people, just even if it is on a hangout, like just being able to talk to someone who is on your wavelength it's so important. Like I can't keep being like having the fake useless conversations that just go nowhere. It's just like empty and about nothing, and just like, how many times can you talk about the weather without asking the question, what's with all the chemtrails? Like
Hmm.
it gets really dull. And so yeah, it's super, super great to connect with people. So awesome. Well, yeah, we'll have to maybe do this again, or yeah, if I do a hangout, you can
Yeah.
hop in that and whatnot. But yeah, I'm sure I'll see you around. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it was great talking to
thanks
you.
so
Good to
much.
finally meet you.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Yeah, it's nice to connect with friends on Facebook and whatnot. And it's like connecting with them on Facebook makes you more real almost, going from YouTube to Facebook. I'm like, oh, that's a little bit more personal, and
Hmm.
like you are a real person and all that. But yeah, connecting even more in real life. Like you're really real.
That's right.
Yeah. But awesome. Well, thanks so much. And I will talk to you later.
All right. Yeah, good. Talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.